They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
All right, guys, before we get into it, I have a massive announcement. I know during the fantasy football season, a lot of y'all reached out to me on Twitter, on Instagram, asking if there was a way that y'all could get involved with the Fantasy Flock Network. And I said, no, I'm sorry. I don't have time to take anyone else on right now. I'm making 5 videos a day, live streaming every night. I really don't have time to think about that. Well, now that it's the off season for fantasy football and we are just focusing in on our fantasy basketball leagues as well as our dynasty fantasy football leagues, I will say now is the time that I am looking for some people to come on and to contribute to the Fantasy Flock Network. If you're interested, shoot me an email, DM me on Twitter, DM me on Instagram. I'll leave everything on the screen as well as the comment section below. So please reach out to me. I'll say what I am mainly looking for is I am mainly looking for 2 things. One, I am looking for people that love fantasy baseball and want to make some fantasy baseball videos. And 2, I am looking for some people that want to help me create the videos, preferably some graphic designers that can come through and make graphics for the channel. That will help so much. So please, if you're interested in either one of those things, or if you have a different idea on how you could get involved and help, I need to hear from you. Shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. But that's it. Let's get into this video. And in this video, I'm going to be going down to the comment section and I'm going to be answering some of your trade questions. And let's not waste any time. This first question is coming out from David, and this is after our Forgotten Players video where we talk about Jimmy Butler, and he's asking, should I trade Keldon Johnson and Lamarcus Aldridge for Jimmy Buckets? And here I will say I am a big time Spurs fan, not as much now that they really don't have any exciting players in the slightest, but back in the day I grew up in San Antonio, so I obviously am going to be rooting for the Spurs every chance I get. But if we are looking at a player like Lamarcus Aldridge right now, I mean, he has completely fallen off the earth. I mean, one of the most disappointing transitions into a late career player that we have seen, at least from Spurs fans' perspective, in a very long time. Currently 35 years old, and I mean only averaging 14 points a game, which isn't going to be the end of the world if you're giving some 3-point production, if you're giving some assist, if you're giving something in rebounding, blocks, steals, anything. But Lamarcus Aldridge out here is not giving us any threes. We obviously know that. Less than 5 rebounds a game, that is not something you can afford from your big man position. And only 2 assists a game, so nothing popping off there, and only shooting 45% from the field. I mean, Lamarcus is a player that I think we could easily replace that kind of production off the waiver wire. If you just do your work every single game, it should be easy to be able to find production to slide in there. And obviously, Keldon Johnson is not necessarily popping off the page in his own right with only 14 points a game, 46% from the field. Not giving you anything special with 3-point shots, 7 rebounds, 2 assists a game. So I'll say there are 2 lessons that we need to be learning from this trade. Obviously, we are going to be going with Jimmy Butler here, who could be back later this week. But our 2 lessons learned are, A, guys, like I said in the video yesterday, these players that we have not seen on the court for a long duration of time, they're going to be coming at a discount in fantasy basketball just because they have been out of everyone's mind for a good while. And secondly, guys, I want everybody to know this is not fantasy football. Please don't be overvaluing these guys that are giving you the bare minimum in production just because it's so easy to make add drop moves throughout the course of the season to get you 12 points in a lineup, to get you 5-6 rebounds. I mean, there's no reason to be going out there and valuing Lamarcus Aldridge like this. And even if Jimmy Butler is not going to come out here and average a ridiculous points per game, we know that he is going to be giving us steals. We know the efficiency should be there at the same time. So please go with Jimmy Butler here over the 2 San Antonio Spurs. All right, so now our next trade question is going to be Chris Middleton and Harrison Barnes for Jason Tatum. Now, obviously, this is the same exact situation here where Jason Tatum has been someone we have not seen on the court for a good while now. So he is at the back of everyone's minds. But anyway, Tatum, we only saw him got to play 5 games this season. And in those 5 games, he looked like he was taking another step. I mean, still, I know it's kind of redundant to say this because everybody talks about it whenever they bring up his name. But Jason Tatum is 22 years old. So obviously this can be a player that continues to progress. And in those 5 games so far this season, while yes, it was an incredibly small sample size, he did average about 28 points a game. He had a fantastic 3-point production, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and we know that Tatum is going to give us defensive statistics at the same time. Whereas on the other hand, I really don't want to focus in on Harrison Barnes, who actually is quietly having a decent season while averaging 16 points a game, 50% from the field, and 6.5 rebounds. Let's look at Chris Middleton, as that's the player that you're not going to be able to replace the production on the waiver wire throughout the course of the week. And with Chris Middleton, he's averaging 22 points a game, 52% from the field. But the reason why I was advocating for selling high on Chris Middleton about 2 weeks ago was we know he was shooting a ridiculous rate from 3. Since then, that has actually come down with a couple games where he's gone over 5, over 6. I mean, he is coming back to earth to a rate that is actually sustainable for the long duration of the season, where he is shooting 42% from 3. So I'll say, based on the evaluation that I've seen in some of these trade questions of Chris Middleton, people are definitely valuing him lower now than they were just a few weeks ago. And at this point, you definitely can't be looking to sell Middleton, while he's also averaging 6 rebounds and 6 assists a game. But in this one case, when you're going to be getting a Jason Tatum, I think that it makes sense. I don't think Harrison Barnes pushes this over the edge. So please go get that stud with Jason Tatum. All right. So now our next trade question, this is one that I actually had to sit there and think about for a little bit. It's going to be Porzingis for Michael Porter Jr. This is coming out from Extant. Thank you so much for watching the videos. Thank you for leaving your comments. I really appreciate it. And here, if we are breaking out what Porzingis has been able to do in limited action so far this season, I mean, he is averaging over 20 points a game, 50% from 50% from the field. We know he is going to give us good 3-point production at the same time. 9 rebounds, an assist a game, as well as close to 2 blocks. So there's no surprise for anyone at this point that when Porzingis plays, he is going to be highly productive. But the one question is how many games are we going to be getting out of Porzingis? We know that he is going to be rested whenever they have those back-to-backs. We know he's not necessarily going to be able to log just 50 games this season with the shortened season. And on the other hand, with Michael Porter Jr., extremely young, should be able to play every game, but the numbers aren't as good on a per-game basis, where he is averaging close to 17 points a game, 55% from the field. We know he is going to give you good 3-point production, 7 rebounds, about the same amount of assists as Porzingis, and he's giving you a steal and a block per game. So what I'll say here is I think that if we are playing in a point league, we are going to be going with Porzingis. But if you play in a category league where those efficiency numbers really matter, I think you have to go with Michael Porter Jr. just because the way that Michael Porter Jr. has been playing off ball, he hasn't been creating really any turnovers in the slightest. And when you're playing off ball, you're going to see those efficiency numbers as in your field goal percentage, your 3-point percentage, a little bit higher than if you're having to create things on your own. And while I know, obviously in Dallas, we have Luka creating the majority of the shot opportunities for Porzingis. Just with Michael Porter Jr., I really like the role that he plays for category leagues in Denver. All right, so now our next trade question is going to be coming out from Kyle. Kyle, thank you so much, my man, for supporting the channel. And this one is, I traded Jalen Brown for Joelle Embiid. And here, man, I love this. I mean, I understand Jalen Brown has been one of the hottest players starting off 2020. He really looks like he is taking that next step. But I mean, right now with Jalen Brown, we just have to understand that there are going to be more players coming in for Boston. We are going to have Jason Tatum. We are going to have Kemba Walker coming in and taking away some of these minutes, taking away some of these shot attempts. But right now, he's averaging a ridiculous 27 points a game, 53% from the field, 43% from 3, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and a steal and a half. And I know he's extremely young. This is a player that is only just getting started with this type of production for his NBA career. But at the same time, I mean, we're talking about Joelle Embiid. We're talking about someone that is in the running to be the MVP of the 2021 season, who's averaging close to 30 points, over 55% from the field. We know he's going to be giving you elite rebounds. We know that the blocks and steals are also going to be elite. So here I think we go with Joelle Embiid 10 times out of 10. And I think this is a fantastic trade that you made. I believe we got this comment from our sell high video where I told y'all to sell Jalen Brown high. And guys, if you can make anything like this in your own league, I am really advising you to do so. All right, so now our last trade question is going to be coming from that same sell high video where I told y'all to go out there and try to sell high on quite possibly my favorite player in the NBA, Kevin Durant. And this question is Kevin Durant for Sabonis. Now here I'll say, obviously, I love KD. Obviously, KD looks like he is his prime self currently, averaging over 30 points a game with ridiculous efficiency numbers, shooting about 55% from the field. We know he's also going to give you those elite three-point games. But at the same time, I mean, Sabonis, on the other hand, is playing on a team where he is being asked to do so much, where not only is he coming through with 20 points a game, which is obviously significantly less than a Kevin Durant, but he is giving 13 rebounds a game and 6 assists at the same time. So Sabonis, for those category leagues where the assist category is so hard to come by, is truly putting you over the edge for what he's going to do at his position. So I'll say, I know this is going to be a very controversial take. I know a lot of people are going to be screaming at their computers when I say this. But with Kyrie and with James Harden most likely taking away some of the usage away from Kevin Durant, and with Sabonis being asked to do so much when we don't know when Karis LeVert should be back, obviously Oladipo is off the team, I think here we are going to be going with Sabonis. If it is a category league, if it's a point league, completely different conversation where I think you can easily make the argument for Kevin Durant with his raw numbers. But Sabonis, we know he's going to give you some three-point usage. The rebounding is elite, and he gives you great assist for a big man. Now, that's something that's really hard to come by. And with KD, you also have to question how many games should he really play in 2021 if they already have so much scoring in Kyrie and James Harden. And we know that team is on their way to the NBA Finals. I mean, if I'm Steve Nash, I'm looking to rest Kevin Durant as much as I possibly can once we get the team chemistry down for the Brooklyn Nets. So here, I think Sabonis is going to play more games. At the same time, I think Sabonis is going to have a little bit more usage in his own rotation. So for that, we're going to go with Sabonis for those category leagues, even though Kevin Durant is a world-class talent and in a completely different league than Sabonis when it comes to the actual NBA. Now, thank you guys. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I really hope y'all are going to reach out to me, try to get involved with the channel. I would love to hear from you. I'll leave all that information down in the description and the comment section below. But yeah, that's it, and have a great day, guys.